Welcome to this deep dive, which is tailor-made just for you, the learner.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we are here to tackle one of the most frustrating and common hurdles when you are striving for fluency. That moment when your mind just goes completely blank. It's like your brain decides, without any warning, to take an unplanned vacation right when you need it most.
It is a feeling almost every language learner has experienced.
So we're going to explore exactly why this happens, and maybe more importantly, arm you with some really tangible strategies to ensure that conversation keeps flowing.
And we are diving into this with a special focus for our channel, English Uncut, because we want to cut straight to the core of the problem and give you solutions that actually work in real life.
Absolutely. And just a quick note, if you find these lessons valuable, please do remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your family and friends so they do not miss any valuable lessons.
It really helps us keep these deep dives going.
Our mission today is to turn that deer-in-the-headlights moment into a moment of calm, focused thought. So let's start by defining that moment itself.
Okay.
You've studied, you've practiced, maybe you've even rehearsed the perfect sentences in your head. But the second the pressure is on, when you open your mouth.
Nothing, just silence.
Exactly. Why is that so difficult?
It's a terrifying moment, and it often feels, really isolating, but it happens all the time.
I recently heard about someone facing their first really high-stakes scenario in English. It was a job interview.
Oh, that's maximum pressure right there.
It is. They had prepared for weeks, going over all the possible questions, perfecting their accent. But the interviewer started with a simple introductory question, and the person just froze.
Just blanked.
Completely. They said they stared, and I'm quoting here, like a deer in headlights. They were completely unable to access even basic vocabulary.
Wow. That intense pressure just cooks the brain, doesn't it? What happened next? Did they manage to recover?
They did, but only by using this quick emergency maneuver. In their panic, they just managed to blurt out, "I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?"
Buying time.
Exactly. That tiny, simple sentence was a lifeline. It bought them about 10 critical seconds to just breathe, reset, and then access the answers they needed for the rest of the interview.
That is such a crucial insight. The immediate reaction doesn't have to be the perfect answer.
Right.
It just has to be a technique to get you a few more seconds. That's brilliant improvisation under pressure.
And on the flip side, sometimes the freeze hits in the most, harmless situations.
Oh, yeah.
The classic example I heard was someone just trying to order a croissant in a small bakery. They knew the word, they knew the sentence structure, but when the baker smiled and asked what they wanted, their mind just went blank.
Oh, the simple everyday interactions can be the trickiest because they're so fast-paced.
Exactly. This learner couldn't access the word croissant, so they ended up just pointing at the display case and saying, "One of those, please."
Well, the transaction was completed, so that's a win.
It is, but the frustration was still there. It just shows that freezing is not always about complex grammar. Sometimes it is just an access failure.
So let's explore the mechanism behind that. What is actually happening in the brain when it decides to freeze?
Yeah, let's get into it.
We are looking at a powerful combination of nerves and something called cognitive overload.
Cognitive overload. Okay, let's unpack that term. What does that actually mean for our listeners?
Well, when you are speaking your native language, all the processes are automatic. You do not think about them.
Right.
But in English, your brain is running multiple heavy processes all at the same time, in real time. You are managing grammar rules, searching for vocabulary, coordinating your pronunciation.
And trying to listen to the other person at the same time.
Exactly. All at once. It is a monumental task.
That sounds exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. The song material used a fantastic analogy. It is like trying to run 3 high-demand, high-resolution games on an old computer all at the same time.
Oh, I get that.
Eventually, the system just cannot handle the demand, and it crashes, or it freezes.
So the freeze is actually a kind of defense mechanism. The brain is saying, I have too much going on, I have to shut down.
Precisely. And we cannot ignore the role of fear in all of this.
The fear of making mistakes.
Yes, the fear of being judged or sounding silly or saying the wrong thing, that triggers a stress response.
Yeah.
And that stress response dramatically reduces your brain's capacity for complex thought. So when the pressure is on, the brain's instinct is to just check out. It says, I am out of here. Silence is safer than making a mistake.
That really helps explain why even simple words just disappear when we are nervous.
It does.
The key, then, is finding immediate strategies to interrupt that panic and reassure your brain that it has the time and space it needs.
Absolutely. So let's dive into those immediate lifelines. These are your go-to strategies for when you feel that blankness starting to creep in.
Okay, strategy 1, building a conversational safety net. And that means prepare go-to phrases in advance.
Right. Think of these phrases like conversational autopilot. If your word bank fails, these phrases keep the plane flying while you reboot the system.
So they are preloaded, ready to go under pressure.
Exactly.
Can you give us a few of these, maybe for both casual and more formal situations?
Of course. So, if you are in a casual chat and struggling, you can say clearly and calmly. Let me think about that for a moment.
Simple. I like that.
Or, to signal that you are struggling a bit with the structure, you could say, I am not sure how to phrase this exactly, but...
Okay, so those are great for buying a few seconds. But what if I am in a professional setting, like a meeting? How can I use a phrase that sounds, authoritative instead of panicky?
A great question. You just need to elevate the language a little. Instead of panicking, you can say something like, that is a truly insightful question. I need just a second to gather my thoughts.
Okay, that sounds confident.
Or even, I want to make sure I address that point fully. Let me just rephrase my idea. The goal is still the same, to buy time, but the language reinforces your competence.
That is a really important distinction. Okay, strategy number 2 is often the hardest to remember when you are panicking, but it is probably the most effective. Breathe and slow down.
Yes. Rushing or feeling flustered is the fastest way to increase that cognitive pressure we talked about. You are not required to give an answer at the speed of light.
I often hear from learners that pausing feels rude, especially when they're talking to a native speaker. How do we balance slowing down with keeping the conversation moving?
That is a very important cultural point. But in English, a pause is acceptable, especially if you show you are still thinking.
So how do you show that?
A slight upward gaze, maybe a small gesture. If you lose your train of thought during, say, a presentation, do not panic. Just pause. Take a deep, conscious breath. And then continue your sentence slowly. Speaking slowly makes a huge difference.
So pausing is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of thought.
Exactly. It's a sign of thoughtful engagement.
I think that shift in perspective is what really helps. Now, for strategy number 3, which can immediately reset the atmosphere, use humor to diffuse the pressure.
Yes. If you stumble over a word or realize you have made a silly mistake, just laugh it off. It signals to the other person that you are comfortable with your own mistakes, and it takes the pressure off both of you.
We mentioned mixing up desert and dessert earlier. So if I said, I think I will have sand for dessert, how would I follow that up with humor?
You just follow up with a little self-deprecating line with a smile, something like, well, I guess I was craving sand instead of cake. My mind is clearly still on vacation.
Right. It shows you're not taking yourself too seriously.
And most people are generous. They appreciate the effort, and often they will actually help you by suggesting the word you were looking for.
It sounds like humor is the social lubricant that makes everything easier. Okay, those are excellent immediate fixes. Now, let's shift to the long-term strategies for building confidence so we can try to prevent the freeze altogether.
This is where we really start to condition the brain for fluency. Strategy number 4 is critical. Practice in low-pressure situations.
What does that look like when you are studying by yourself? How can a learner start speaking out loud without feeling, awkward?
The whole goal is to get used to the mechanics of speaking without the fear of judgment. And the easiest way is to just talk to yourself.
Narrate your day.
Exactly. Narrate your entire day. Sounds strange, but it works wonders for fluency. You might say things like, I'm making breakfast now. I need to fry these eggs and measure the coffee into the maker.
So the purpose is just to get the sentence structure flowing out of your mouth, linking your thought directly to speech out loud?
Precisely. When I was learning Spanish, I forced myself to narrate every little task. Now I am walking to the bus stop. Or, I must take my umbrella because it looks like rain. My brain just got used to constructing sentences in that language without that internal editor slowing me down.
It builds muscle memory for speech.
It does.
That makes it feel much less intimidating. Building on that, let's talk about strategy 5, shadowing exercises.
Shadowing is extremely powerful because it trains your rhythm, not just your words. You listen to a native speaker from a podcast, a TV show, whatever, and you repeat what they say as closely as you can at the same time, like their shadow.
So I am not just mimicking the words, I am mimicking the music of the language, the intonation, the stress.
Exactly, the rhythm. You are bypassing that internal grammar checker and focusing completely on the flow. If you pick a favorite English show, maybe you focus on one character and you try to mimic their exact delivery.
We mentioned the example of Joey from Friends and his line, "How you doing?" If a learner mimics that, what are they really gaining from it?
They are gaining an understanding of connected speech. You notice that it is not pronounced "how are you doing?" It's more like "how you doing?"
Right, it's all run together.
By shadowing that, your mouth and your throat muscles get used to the way native speakers naturally speak. This dramatically improves your fluency because you stop struggling to place every single syllable perfectly.
Okay, moving to a purely mental strategy now. Strategy number 6, visualization.
Visualization is key for managing anxiety. And anxiety is a huge contributor to the freeze. Before you have a big meeting or even just a stressful phone call, take 5 minutes to practice visualization.
And how do you do that successfully?
You just take a moment to picture yourself confidently succeeding in that conversation. You see yourself maintaining eye contact, speaking clearly and smoothly, using those go-to phrases if you need them. You are mentally rehearsing a successful outcome.
So it's not just hoping to succeed, it is actually giving your brain a successful practice run.
That's it. When the actual event happens, your brain is less likely to panic because it has already run a simulation where everything went just fine.
It makes sense that would boost confidence. Okay, and strategy 7 focuses on the raw material, expanding vocabulary with themes.
Yes, this addresses a root cause of some freezes.
Yeah.
You simply do not have the word you need. We recommend reading regularly, of course, but the crucial part is organization. Do not just memorize random words, group them.
Why is grouping them into themes so much more effective?
Because your brain stores related information together. When you are speaking, your brain doesn't search through an alphabetical list. It searches through connected concepts. So if you group new words into themes, you drastically increase your retrieval speed.
So if I pick the theme of cooking, I should learn related verbs and nouns together.
Yes, you learn stir, boil, bake, chop, whisk. And then the most important step, use them immediately in context. Narrate yourself making a meal. First, I chop the onions, then I stir the sauce while it begins to boil.
You are immediately linking them into active use.
Right.
And the next week, I could switch to the theme of travel and focus on words like luggage, boarding pass, departure.
And you would practice using them. I hope my luggage does not exceed the weight limit. I need to print my boarding pass before I get to the departure gate. This contextual learning moves words from your passive memory into your active speaking bank.
That is a fundamental game changer for learning vocabulary. This leads perfectly into our final and maybe most crucial mindset shift. Strategy number 8, focus on the message, not the exact words.
This is the ultimate goal. Getting caught up in finding the single perfect word is probably the #1 cause of the conversational freeze. You have to remind yourself, the goal is successful communication, not linguistic perfection.
So if I can't find the precise word, I just need to improvise and describe it.
Exactly. You have to be comfortable with what's called circumlocution. Forgetting the word refrigerator does not have to stop the conversation. You just say, the big white box in the kitchen that keeps the food cold. The listener understands immediately.
Can you give us another example?
Sure. Say you're trying to describe a piece of office equipment, but you forget the technical term, maybe shredder. Instead of freezing, you just say, could you pass me the machine that cuts the papers into tiny strips so nobody can read them?
Communication achieved.
Precisely. It is all about creative improvisation. You have to keep moving and trust that the listener is on your side, working with you to understand your message. Do not let one missing word derail the entire thought.
This has been incredibly insightful, giving us both immediate relief and long-term confidence builders. To all our listeners, please remember, your mind going blank is a normal part of the learning journey.
It really is.
It happens to everyone. The important thing is how you react, and now you have 8 concrete strategies for that.
Speaking a new language is truly a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Every conversation you have, even the ones where you have to point at a croissant, is a massive step forward. So be kind to yourself. Embrace the mistakes. They are proof that you are trying.
We hope these tips help you the next time you feel that pressure, and we would love to hear from you. What strategies have you used when your mind is frozen while speaking English? Share your tips with us in the comments or on social media.
Yes, please do. We are all in this together, and your experiences might just be the solution someone else needs.
Absolutely.
And here is one final provocative thought for you to explore this week. We emphasize grouping vocabulary by themes like cooking or travel. This week, choose a completely new field of interest. maybe it is technology or history or finance, and dedicate 30 minutes to learning and contextually applying 5 new words related to that theme. See how quickly you can integrate them into a short monologue, and notice how that might reduce the chances of your mind freezing when that topic comes up.
That is a wonderful challenge to build proactive confidence. Thanks for tuning in to English Uncut. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, you have got this. Until next time,